What's up, everyone? The Snyder Cut is about to release on HBO Max, which will hopefully erase this movie from memory. Let's review it. Real quick, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, let me know down below what you thought of 2017's Justice League. I think we all pretty much have the same opinion on it, but anyways, I'll be reviewing the Snyder Cut and have a few other DC videos coming out along with it, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Anyway, let's get into this review. The plot of this movie is it's all about like mother boxes, like Steppenwolf, who's the main bad guy with like the horns and everything. He wants the boxes that are gonna control the world or something like that, kind of like the Infinity Stones. And they have similar powers, like he's gonna be able to control the world and just bring chaos and everything. So while he's going for the three boxes that are like scattered throughout the planet, one of them's like with the Amazonians, and then there's a couple others and a few other places. So meanwhile, while that's happening, Batman and Wonder Woman are trying to like assemble a team to combat this new threat. And really, like 40 minutes of this movie is just development for Cyborg, Aquaman, The Flash, and Batman as well, and Wonder Woman. And it's all because there's just no setup to this movie. And since there was no setup, this movie had to do everything on its own. And they're cramming way too much into this movie, especially because it's 2 hours. So anyway, we're about halfway through the movie, and the Justice League, who has like the mother box, they're gonna use it to bring Superman back, because I guess it has the powers to bring people back to life. So they're gonna bring Superman back to life to help them. They bring him back to life. He gets in a fight with them, then he runs off. And there's a pretty weird scene where the mother box is just sitting there, then a beam comes out of the sky and just takes it, because I guess that's the best they could come up with how Steppenwolf gets the last mother box. Anyway, now that he has all the boxes, he's in like Russia or something, and he's like creating this big like dome that's gonna like destroy the world. And the Justice League has to stop him. They go there, they get in a fight, and then Superman shows up. He saves the day. They defeat Steppenwolf and rescue humans from destruction. That's the plot of this movie. It's really hard to like sound excited about this movie. It's just there's so many issues in it. But anyway, before we look at the negative, which is quite a long list for this video, let's try to look at the positive side of this movie and see what this movie did well. So overall, there are like a few things I like about this movie, but there's not much. I do like the overarching plot of like Steppenwolf getting the three boxes and then Justice League has to stop him. It's very simple. It's very reminiscent of Infinity War. Obviously, this did come out before Infinity War, but I like it. It's a good concept. It does have this like the end of the world vibe, executed terribly, but I definitely see the vision of the plot that they were going for, that Zack Snyder was going for. And that's one of the biggest reasons I'm really excited for Zack Snyder's version of this movie, because I think the seeds are there, but this movie was just executed terribly. And then you talk about studio interference. They fired Zack Snyder, they brought in Joss Whedon, and this is the result you get. You just get a shell of what we could have gotten. I like most of the superheroes in this movie. The Flash is funny at times. Cyborg was intriguing, though the CGI on his suit wasn't good. Which is really unfortunate. Wonder Woman's great as usual. Henry Cavill, in my opinion, is a very good Superman. And then Ben Affleck's Batman was a bit mixed. I thought his suit looked kind of weird in this movie. It didn't bug me in Batman vs Superman, but in this one it certainly did. It looked really like rubbery and like fake. I don't know. I didn't like it, and he had some questionable like morals in this movie that I'll get more into in the negative. Batman is really the only one I didn't like of the main heroes in this. Oh, Aquaman. Almost forgot about Aquaman. Aquaman is great. I'm glad they changed his suit for the movie. I'm not really a big fan of his suit in this one. Jason Momoa is great as Aquaman. So once again, I did like the heroes in this movie. Once again, the execution was terrible. The heroes as well are one of the reasons that the Snyder Cut could be so great, because they're really good. The actors are really good. The heroes, like Justice League and DC, just has so many great heroes and so many great plots that they can do. And the fact that Warner Bros. And DC has just done this terribly so far is really disappointing, and really hope in the future they can turn it around. But anyway, without further ado, let's look at what this movie did bad. So let's just get it out of the way. I think this movie is terrible. Is that a surprise? No. I'm sure everyone feels the same way. And for me, and as time has gotten on, we've gotten more information on what happened with Zack Snyder and the studio interference and everything. This movie's just gotten so much worse. This movie's so unbelievably rushed. It's not surprising at all that Zack Snyder's cut of the movie is going to be over 4 hours, when this movie was only 2 hours. Like, it's just so much happens in this 2 hour mark that it doesn't focus on anything. It's just moving so quickly. And like I mentioned, when Steppenwolf got the third mother box, it was just like a beam came out of the sky and took the box, and Wonder Woman's like, uh-oh, he has the box. Like, that was it. That was the best they could come up with. Like, I honestly laughed at just how stupid that was. Like, if I'll refer to Infinity War, when you think about how much Thanos had to go through to get the final stone from Vision, and then you compare it to this, and he just like throws a beam down and gets the box. Like, why didn't he just do that earlier? Like, I don't. It's so dumb, and I honestly can't believe some of the stuff that's actually in this movie. And like I mentioned, this movie is just this huge concept. I think it was originally supposed to be 2 movies, and then they trimmed it to 1, and then they want it to be under 2 hours. So it's just a huge plot crammed into 2 hours. And it also doesn't help when Zack Snyder had to do so much character development because Warner Bros. Refused to make any other movies prior to this because they just so quickly wanted that Marvel money. They didn't want to wait and develop things and set things up. They just wanted to, be making all this money at the box office with a big Justice League movie. And along the same notes of this movie being rushed, there's absolutely no payoff in this movie. Like, things happen and you just do not care at all. The most emotional scene was when the Steppenwolf was attacking the Amazonians, but even that was just like it was very flat. It was rushed. It should have been more epic than it was. I mean, this movie is just really bland and tasteless and very emotionless. You don't care what's happening. All these moments in the movie that are supposed to be awesome, and you're supposed to be like jumping out of your seat and going crazy for, but you're not, because there's absolutely no build up. There's no setup to anything. It's just, this movie is so moving so quickly. It just shows things and then moves to the next scene. And then there's this final monologue by like Lois Lane at the end, where she's kind of talking about like how the Justice League saved humanity, and that really just doesn't feel justified because it never felt like humanity was in danger. It never felt like the Justice League saved the day, because half the time we didn't even know what was happening because the plot wasn't coherent at all. The plot was super rushed, and just nothing is earned in this movie. But all of this goes back to the fact that this is just not a complete movie. This is a shell of what this movie was originally supposed to be. It baffles me that they actually released this. Like, I honestly just get mad thinking about this movie. And just what a dark time it was for DC after this movie came out. It was just, this movie's so unbelievably disappointing. Like, it's not the worst movie ever made, but just the decisions they make here are unbelievable. What went on behind the scenes, it's truly like almost amazing that this movie actually got made. This movie is filled with reshoots, and it really shows that they had 2 different directors with competing visions to come in and direct different parts of the movie. Like, go watch The Avengers and then watch Batman v Superman and tell me that Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon have similar styles and similar visions for what they want from a movie. I also don't like how they used Batman in this movie. I mentioned it earlier. Like, he was the one who suggested they use the mother box to bring Superman back. Use this like destructive box to bring him back. He was arguing with Wonder Woman over it, but it really feels like Batman should be on the other side of that argument, that he should be arguing that they shouldn't. Because Batman has always been one of the superheroes with like the strongest moral codes, and he just won't do things like that. Like, if you watch Dark Knight, there's so many moments in the Dark Knight trilogy like that where he just refrains from becoming the bad guy, from doing anything bad. But in this movie, he just wants to use this like mother box that's like super dangerous to bring Superman back, just because of the potential of bringing Superman back. How helpful that would be. He doesn't seem to care about the consequences. And for me, that's not good Batman. That's not what Batman is to me. It doesn't seem like something Batman would do. And I really don't like this like anarchist Ben Affleck Batman where he just doesn't have rules. The best thing about Batman for me is his rules and his kind of moral code, that he doesn't kill people. And then this movie just breaks that, and Batman v Superman just breaks that. I don't like that at all. I like Ben Affleck as Batman, but I don't like some of the choices Zack Snyder made with it. And I don't really like, I thought his suit looked weird, particularly in this one. His suit looked weird at times until the end scene where they brought in a different suit. And I've mentioned this movie is rushed quite a bit, but all the superheroes in this movie were underdeveloped. Like, we only got 3 movies prior to this movie that set this movie up, and only really one movie actually set this movie up, Batman v Superman. And one of the biggest flaws in Batman v Superman is that it's so concerned with setting up Justice League. Like, before this movie, we should have at least gotten an Aquaman movie, a Batman movie, and probably another Superman movie before we even considered making a Justice League movie. But nope, Warner Bros. And DC only cared about the money. They wanted to catch up to Marvel. They didn't care about creating this, coherent universe. And Justice League 2017 is the result of that. So like I've mentioned throughout this entire video, 2017's Justice League is a complete disaster from start to finish. Every single scene in this movie is a shell of what it should be. It's not nearly as good as it should be. And overall, there's just very few redeeming qualities about this movie. I can't wait for Zack Snyder's version of this movie. Hopefully it'll be way better than this. We can just forget this movie ever existed, hopefully, because it's terrible. I don't like it at all. For my score of this movie, it's kind of a hard movie to rate because it doesn't really feel like a movie. Like I mentioned, it's not the worst movie in the world, but I'm going to give it a 22% and it easily gets an F. In my opinion, this is easily one of the worst comic book movies and quite possibly the most disappointing comic book movie and quite possibly the most frustrating comic book movie. And all of this just gets me so much more excited for Zack Snyder's version of the movie, because I'm really, really hoping that it's going to just give us something remotely better than what this movie gave us. I've only seen this movie a couple of times because, you can't watch it. It's that bad. This movie is so frustrating. So anyway, that will do it for my review of 2017's Justice League. Not a great movie, but stay tuned. I will be reviewing the Snyder Cut and uploading some other DC videos along that same lines. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, comment down below. Tell me what you thought of this movie. Tell me how bad it is. What terrible things about this movie did I miss? There's a lot of bad things in it. You could go on for hours about just how terrible this movie is, all the bad decisions this movie makes. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a great day.